As the smoke clears on the horizon and the smell of burning flesh thins around him, Chan looks down with tears in his eyes and notices a single flower amongst fields of dead body. For this we must strive to be satisfied with who we are and not what we are, Chan thinks, kneeling down to take in the aroma of chance embodying the shape of a brave single flower. As he kneels, his mind creates a vision of himself barely being missed by a fatal blow aimed at his back. Without hesitation, he moves, effortlessly, with the grace of a dancing wind, avoiding the spear. His eyes open as he looks behind him and sees a figure larger than any he's ever seen before. The figure was covered in blood and filth from the battle that took place. Chan could see the figure's eyes as it approached him, filled with anger, rage, and destruction, the perpetuated carnage that only comes from the heart fueled by hatred. The figure began to run faster and harder, revealing itself as Ling Gorilla, the mighty and ruthless gorilla. Chan knows what is to come and smiles as Ling leaps for his broken tusk. "I finally found you," snarled Ling as he flies through the air, muscles full and tense, preparing for the brutal kill. But Chan merely sidesteps and walks slowly past the killer gorilla. Ling crashes to the ground, sending dead bodies flying through the air. After coming to a stop from the force of his leap, he stands and shakes his head, yelling, "Turn and fight me, coward!" Chan stops, motionless, and speaks, "You must have me confused with someone else, my friend," and continues on his way. Ling, filled with even more rage, speeds towards Chan's back, raising his massive fist for a strike that would even crush the back of the mightiest elephant. "I've heard about your strength and immeasurable defeats and have come to take revenge for my family," Ling cries, once again going for the strike that has been long overdue. Ling was just about to land his strike when a sensation of sorrow ripped through his heart, causing his entire body to stop in mid-air, floating above his victim's body. Struggling because of the intense yet unexplainable pain and suffering he was now feeling, Ling cries, "What is happening to me? What have you done to me? What is this great suffering I'm feeling in my heart?" Turning around, Chan's eyes meet with Ling's. Only then did Ling notice the tears falling from the elephant's eyes. "Who are you looking for with such hatred in your heart, my friend?" Chan asks, feeling the hate still building up inside Ling. "I am not your friend, you murderous coward," Ling screams, still trying to break free. "Fair enough then," Chan answers back. "Then whom are you searching for to kill with such rage?" "I am looking for you," he cries. "Don't play ignorant. You are the ruthless killer elephant, Punam Tahan." "I know the killer. I am not he," answers Chan. "He is a pearl white elephant, and I am not." Trying to gain his senses, Ling noticed what Chan was saying. Chan didn't fit the description of the great warlord, not even close. Suddenly, Ling felt the sorrow was leaving him, as if sucked out of his heart, free of hate and rage. "What happened to me?" Ling asked, attempting to gain back his strength as he stumbles to the ground. "You, my friend, tried what many before you have tried," Chan replies. "I cannot be killed by the evils and hatred of this world. I cannot die until my time is complete. I cannot see the gods of the afterlife until nature says it is so." Amazed by Chan's statement, Ling dare not mock what he just heard, for only someone blessed by the gods themselves could attain such power. "Please, at least come with me, away from so much death, so I can tend to your injuries," Chan said. Without questioning, Ling follows the elephant away from the fields of blood and carnage. After a few minutes, Ling noticed the details of his new friend. He had the remains of what appeared to be a broken trunk, stained so deeply in filth that it made Ling's stomach turn. But the incredible power that Chan displayed, despite being a weak-looking adversary, made Ling no match for this mysterious creature. They finally arrived at Chan's home, and Ling noticed they didn't pass anyone. It had to have taken all day, Ling thought to himself. It was the break of morning when they first confronted each other. Rubbing the back of his head, Ling took a moment to clear his mind even more. He attempted to understand what was happening as he took his hand off his head and noticed white hairs on it. "What in the world is this?" Ling said, astonished by what he was seeing. Without turning around, Chan answers, "Your journey has begun." "Journey?" Ling replied. "What journey?" Chan explained that the spirits of the dead in the field connected him with Ling. Chan continued by explaining that there were too many deaths from Ling's rage in finding his family's killer, and was chosen to show him the way of finding the warlord. Ling was pleased to hear this. Clearly, a creature of such power and skill can teach him what is needed to destroy the warlord Punam once and for all. "Please, Chang," Ling begged, falling to his knees. "Teach me everything I need to know to destroy my enemy." "I have seen this day and knew the day had come when I first saw you," Chang replied. "I will teach you everything your heart longs for." Shocked by his response, Ling became the student of Chan, the elephant that couldn't be killed. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months and months into years. Chan trained Ling to perfect all the skills and strength needed to defeat his enemy. But when Ling would tell his master that he was ready to defeat Punam, his master would battle him and defeat Ling effortlessly. An enraged animal can only see the rewards of his prey ahead of him, but not see the trap set before him. Chan tells Ling, "Pick yourself up, continue your training, and let me know when you're ready later." During his training, as to get to know his student, Chan asked Ling about his past enemies that he's defeated. "Why do you want to know about my past enemies?" Ling asked respectfully, as to not insult his master. "It is just as important to understand the enemies of your past and their skills in preparation for the greatest enemies of your future," Chan replies. "How else are you able to understand what to do?" Without question, Ling adds to his physical training discussions of his past battles. He explained how he defeated many enemies, but they were mere rocks in his journey to Punam. He explained that they wouldn't reveal the location of Punam in fear of losing their own family. They believed Punam to be that powerful. Quietly, Ling thought what a battle would be if his master Chan and Punam were to ever fight. Ling also talked about two past enemies that were more than just rocks. He told the story of how he almost lost his head to Siwa, the mighty tiger. They were fighting for hours when Siwa suddenly leaped for his head with her razor-sharp claws. Ling moved out of the way seconds before her claws could reach his neck, cutting his left shoulder deep. It took nearly 3 months for his battle wounds to heal from that fight. He explained that nearly a year later he found Nyo Liam, the great python in the jungles. Ling heard that Nyo knew the exact location of Punam. Nyo wouldn't concede to his demand and fought with such conviction. Nyo had Ling in his grasp, squeezing the remaining life out of his lungs. But Nyo's enjoyment over the dying gorilla made the great python complacent. Ling was able to grab a portion of Nyo's body and rip it into 2 places. One year turned to 10. Ling's training with his master Chan became a ritual of their day. The wind would blow when the two fought against each other. The grass would dry up from the energy they both created during combat. Their strikes would split the air, and their kicks would crack the earth. The breath would force the moisture in the air to collect, and rain would fall. After their training was complete, the land was as if the destruction and force of their training never even disturbed the harmony of a morning day. Ling focused only on his master. Session after session and year after year, he never paid any attention to the transformation that was happening to him. He hadn't noticed that the hair on his back formed a thin silver stripe. He hadn't noticed that he was no longer speaking to his master with his voice, just his mind. He hadn't noticed that his heart no longer craved for vengeance and no longer wished to find Punam. He just focused on his master, Chan. One morning, Chan woke Ling and asked him to go for a walk. Ling, of course, jumped to the occasion. Any time with his master was time well spent, Ling thought. As they walked along the valley and mountains, Chan asked Ling some questions. "What is the meaning of life?" Chan asked. "The meaning of life is unlimited, with no boundaries, master," Ling responded. "The meaning is different for all." "What is the nature of longing?" Chan asked. "Longing is for those that still don't understand that they already have everything they need to be happy," Ling responded. We all have what is needed. It is the corruption of what we are taught to believe is needed that robs us and makes us long for objects. Chan smiles and turns to his student and asks, "How far are we from our home?" Ling stops, looks around, and can't believe his eyes. They have traveled across the sea that separates the land. During what he believed to be a simple walk turned into a journey across the world. Chan explains to his student that because he released his mind of all obstacle, he was able to transcend beyond the body and mind. "There is only one more level, my friend," Chan explains. "Then I must leave you." Surprised by this statement, Ling bows. Ling can't imagine life without his master for some reason. His heart has softened. His mind has cleared of past hatred. He wants for nothing and could care less of worldly objects. "Ling!" a voice shouts, forcing Ling out of his daydream of inner thoughts. At first, he remains confused and wonders where the voice came from. The only thing standing in front of him was his master, Chan. "Look at me!" screams the voice, but this time Ling saw in disbelief where the sound came from. The voice came out of the mouth of his master. Ling watched as his master transformed into a vision of bright, shiny light, flashing from yellow to orange to blue to green. The flashing lights ended with a huge explosion that almost knocked Ling down, but because of his advanced skills he's gained, the blast merely blew some of the mud off his body. "It is time you knew the truth. It is time you meet your doom. It is time for you to die," cries the voice out of Chan's mouth. "Who are you and what have you done with my master?" Ling asks, still confused, but starting to understand. "You know exactly who I am," yells the voice. "I am Punam Tahan, the enemy you've been looking and training for all this time." Then and there, at that exact moment, Ling gained clarity and could no longer refuse what he already knew. All this time, his master was his most hated enemy. All this time, he was training to kill and defeat his lifelong enemy, but his heart was empty of hatred and vengeance. His mind was empty of revenge. He had nothing inside him to defend what he was feeling. Saddened, lost, and emptiness was all that he felt. "Let me show you all the people I've killed," yells Punam, as a flash goes off once again. Ling stands with his eyes flowing with tears, motionless as energy starts to develop deep within his soul. The more he looks at Punam, the more the energy grows until he noticed his body glowing. He noticed that he started to feel the anger and rage he once felt. He noticed his eyes beginning to burn because of what filled him. He remembered the vision of his dead family and can't control the energy growing inside of him any longer. His body becomes a huge ball of fire that shines light over the valley of dead bodies. Punam draws his sword and charges towards Ling. "The world as you know it will end today, Ling," yells Punam Tahan. "Today, Ling dies forever." Ling focused on all the evil in his heart and raised his fist towards his advancing enemy. Punam leaped for the blow that even Ling knows would kill him. But suddenly, a thought of missing his master enters Ling's mind. He thinks of times during training. He thinks of sparring sessions they share. He thinks of his friend. All is black and smoky now. It's as if everything that has taken place did so in a split second. As the smoke cleared the horizon and the smell of burning flesh thins around him, Ling looks down with tears in his eyes and noticed a single flower amongst fields of dead bodies. He hears a whisper of his master's voice from the direction of the flower. "You are now Batiban, my friend," the voice says. "I will miss you very much in Life 1. For this, we must strive to be satisfied with who we are and not what we are." Bat thinks as he kneels down to take in the smell of chant. As he kneels, his mind creates a picture of himself barely missed by rocks aimed at his back. His eyes opened as he looked behind him and sees two figures, larger than any he's ever seen before. These figures were covered in blood and filth from the battle that took place in their past. Bat could see the eyes of the figures as they approached him, filled with anger, rage, and destruction that perpetuated the carnage that only comes from the hearts of loss. The two figures begin to run faster and harder, revealing themselves. Bat knows what is to come and smiles at the two figures as they leap for his body. The two figures were just about to land their strike when a sense of sorrow ripped through their hearts, causing their entire body to stop in midair, floating above their victim's body. Struggling because of the intense yet unexplainable pain and suffering they were now feeling, they cried, "What is happening to us? What have you done to us? What is this great suffering we're feeling in our hearts?" "Who are you both looking for with such hatred in your hearts, my friend?" Bot asked, feeling the rage still building up inside them. "We are not your friend, you murderous coward!" they both screamed, still trying to break free. "Fair enough, then," Bot answered back. "Then whom are you both searching for to kill with such rage?" "We're looking for you," they cried. "Don't play ignorant. You are the great ruthless killer Lingarenla." "I know the killer. I am not he," answered Bot. Suddenly, the figures felt the sorrows leaving them as if sucked out of their hearts, leaving it free with only their own hate and rage. "What happened to us?" they asked, attempting to gain back their strength, stumbling towards the ground. But before they met the blood-stained ground, Bot's mighty hands caught them. "You, my friend, tried what many before you have tried," Bot replies. "I cannot be killed by the evils and hatred of this world. I cannot die until my time is complete. I cannot see the gods of the afterlife until nature says it is so." Amazed by Bot's statement, the figures, one in the form of a mighty tiger, the other as a great python, dare not mock what they have just heard, for only someone blessed by the gods themselves could attain such power. "Please, at least come with me, away from so much death, so I can tend to your injury," Bot requested. And the three headed off towards the next chapter of their journey.